Good afternoon and welcome here to Bankers Life Fieldhouse. My name is Bob Schultz, Senior Vice President of Marketing and Events for downtown Indy. And here we are starting a 20-day countdown to New Year's Eve in this splendid facility and right out here on Georgia Street, an events destination that we've all become very familiar with. And this year we will usher in the second annual New Year's Eve celebration presented by the Indiana Union Construction Industry. And our multi-year sponsor, we're glad our title sponsor has come back. We'll hear from Michelle here in a moment. We're thrilled also to partner with Pacer Sports and Entertainment in this spectacular facility. The world's best basketball facility becomes the world's best New Year's Eve venue as well. And so we thank Rick Fusen and the entire team here at Pacer Sports and Entertainment, as you'll hear a little bit about what happens indoors as well as outdoors. And also, we couldn't imagine doing a New Year's Eve event ushering in 2016 without the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, as we put an Indy-fied experience into the energy of New Year's Eve, and you'll hear in a moment from Doug Bowles. And we're also pleased to welcome a new partner this year in the Hoosier Lottery, and you'll hear a moment from Sarah Taylor with Hoosier Lottery. So this celebration on New Year's Eve will begin on December 31st, obviously, but at 6 p.m. when the Pacers take on the Bucks. And so that game will start, a great party both inside and out, with a full lineup of bands and entertainment, live music. We'll have live music in here in the Entry Pavilion, which will become renamed the Hoosier Lottery Countdown Pavilion for those needing a warm area throughout the evening. Last year was 2 degrees below zero. Do I need to remind you of that when it's 60 degrees today? And once again, thanks to our friends at the Indy Racing Experience that we have the ability to use an element of Indy in an Indy car, which we'll reveal here in a moment, as that moment of midnight, the celebratory, what some cities call a ball drop. We don't like to use the word drop when you use the word Indy car in the same sentence. So an Indy car descent here at 11:59, 20 days from now, as we usher in 2016. So today we're about unveiling that car and the many partners and sponsors that have made this moment possible as we move forward to the final days of 2015. Coming back right up to the plate for this great event is the Indiana Union Construction Industry, and to hear a little bit more about who they are and why they've ponied up again and celebrated a partnership, please welcome the head of Top Notch and the Indiana Union Construction Industry, Michelle Boyd. Michelle?
Thank you. On behalf of the Indiana Union Construction Industry and Top Notch of Indiana, we are thrilled to be back for the second year of Downtown Indy's New Year's Eve. One of the reasons we think this is a really special event is because our tradesmen and our contractors work on this very venue, the development of Georgia Street at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And so it gives us a chance to partner with all of our customers and bring together a true Indy-style New Year's Eve celebration. We loved the energy last year on Georgia Street with more than 20,000 people celebrating in this brand new tradition, and we look forward to participating again once again. Thank you very much.
Michelle, thank you very much. And we look forward to rocking it out on Georgia Street with you as well. New Year's Eve celebration is a free community event. And because we offer something like that for free, it takes the partnership of many civic partners and sponsors to pull this off. And when Mayor Ballard had this vision of Georgia Street being an events destination to celebrate not only the Super Bowl, but major holidays, we knew that the time had come for Indy to have this type of experience. So the second annual is so much a part of now our fabric. As I mentioned earlier, our newest partner is the Hoosier Lottery that will be activating both inside here, Bankers Life Fieldhouse, as well as outside. To hear a little bit more about that and understand what the Hoosier Lottery Countdown Pavilion will be all about, please welcome the Executive Director of the Hoosier Lottery, Sarah Taylor. Sarah?
Well, at the Hoosier Lottery, we're very excited to join downtown Indy and these wonderful partners for the upcoming New Year's Eve celebration. The Hoosier Lottery Countdown Pavilion here in the area we are will have a stage with live music with country rock performing artist Corey Cox live later in the evening, along with other music options. We'll have food and drink for purchase. It will be very warm in here, and public restrooms, something that we can all appreciate in a busy evening like that. We'll be joined by our mascots, our Hoosier Lotto Ball, our Mega Millions Ball, our Powerball Ball, and we'll be giving away our $1 scratch-off 2016 New Year's ticket to the first 2016 adults that join us that evening. We look forward to this exciting time, and we're so glad to join you this year for the event. Thank you.
We couldn't have the mascots today, but we do have this ball. Okay, see, it's the Hoosier Lottery ball. It's not the official one, but 250 of these will be thrown out into the crowd on New Year's Eve. And you can't tell it, but in the darkness of night, it'll glow red. There's a little red glow stick in there. So this added a nice element outside, and we're glad you are part of this, Sarah. So thank you to the Hoosier Lottery. Once again this year, we are so pleased that the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and the Verizon IndyCar Series have stepped up to help us usher in 2016. It's kind of a special year, wouldn't you say, Doug, with the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. To learn a little bit more about what makes 2016 special and to demonstrate his energy behind New Year's Eve, please welcome the president of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Mr. Doug Bowles. Doug?
Well, thank you, Bob and Michelle and Sarah. Thank you so much. You know, I love the city of Indianapolis. This is an unbelievable city, and what is happening here is really just a great example of how come this is such an unbelievable city. We are all getting together to figure out how we can celebrate the turning of a new year, but doing it together. And you look at a lot of these names behind me of folks that are invested in downtown Indianapolis and helping our citizens have a great place to enjoy New Year's Eve. It's hard to imagine how many of them cross not just what happens here, but what happens at Lucas Oil Field, what happens at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You know, you mentioned the 20 to 250 lottery balls that are going to get sent out into the crowd on New Year's Eve. To me, that number all of a sudden hit me. There are 250 men and women right now working at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway so that in 169 days we can have the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500. Between those men and women, many of them are our own staff, are over 100 Indiana Union Construction Industry members who are helping make sure that that 100th running of the Indianapolis 500 is the greatest Indianapolis 500 ever put on. So we're really excited about that. And it's just funny that it is about 250 people we have out there that are actually working to get that done. But this city is so important to our success. It's not just about what happens on the racetrack. We're a day event, and if we didn't have an unbelievably first-class international nightlife here in downtown, people would come to our race, but then would stay home and watch it on TV. Part of the experience of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is what they get to do in downtown. Wonderful restaurants, wonderful hotels, unbelievable Hoosier hospitality from everybody as they walk through the streets. We're so proud that Carl Fisher decided to build the Indianapolis Motor Speedway just a few miles from here. And one of the best things we get to do every year at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is showcase that spirit that makes the city of Indianapolis the greatest city in the world. And to be able to do it with our citizens on New Year's Eve, I think is a great tradition. One of the exciting things we're actually going to get to do this year, we're going to have a Chevy First Ride. So Chevy is one of our great partners at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Chevy is going to actually give somebody an opportunity to take a ride in that car on New Year's Eve, and it's going to be the first Indy car ride as we lead into the 100th running of the Indianapolis 500. I'm just so glad that our countdown clock is 169 days and not 20. We have a lot of work to do. Those union construction workers can do an awful lot, but we've put them up to a big task. I don't think we can get it done in 20 days. But in order to help us celebrate that, you can't do it with just a car. You got to have a race car driver. And what better race car driver than a third-generation Indianapolis 500 participant who just announced that he's going to be a rookie at this year's Indianapolis 500, Matt Brabham. Matt, his grandfather, Jack Brabham, is part of the reason the cars look the way they do today. Jack Brabham helped usher in the rear-engine car here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, was one of the first people to test it. And as you know, in the mid-'60s, that turned out to be the way to build Indy cars, and it's maintained that ever since. His dad, Jeff Brabham, was one of the most likable guys in IndyCar racing, and one of only a handful of people that have actually run the Indianapolis 500 and the Brickyard 400. Very, very few people have been able to have that opportunity. They've raised a great son in Matt Brabham. Matt's won at our Indy Lights level. He's been one of the most competitive folks on the Indy Lights. We're so excited that Matt's going to have an opportunity to run the Indianapolis 500 next year for the first time. You are technically an American, born here in the United States, spent most of your formative years in Australia. You've been here for 4 more years. We're excited to have you back. Matt, why don't you come up and talk about what Indianapolis has meant to you, just from the racing side, but even this community that's embraced you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction, Doug. Yeah, it's just awesome. You know, I just can't wait to get out there and then, you know, be a new driver as part of Pertec Team Murray in the Angie's List Grand Prix and the Indy 500. I know that my dad and my grandfather have been telling me stories about it my whole life, and you know, be a part of the city and racing in that great race is just absolutely fantastic. Can't describe the feeling, and it means a lot to, you know, our family and all the other drivers out there. And I guess it's really fantastic to see the city, you know, celebrating the you know, the New Year's Eve, you know, drop and midnight with IndyCar 2. I know it was pretty cool last year to see that, so really looking forward to see that, and it's great to get, you know, the city behind IndyCar and celebrate it together. So yeah, it's fantastic. I know it's also pretty cool to have, you know, be a Chevy driver and see Chevy supporting, you know, the event on New Year's Eve. And I know that the passenger in the Indy Experience 2-seater car is going to have a lifetime memory driving off into the midnight at New Year's Eve. So yeah, absolutely fantastic, and yeah, can't wait for the great event. Thank you very much. I'll pass it off to Bob.
Matt, thank you. It's so good to have you here back in Indiana, and obviously part of our event here today. You know, someday there will be a trivia night question. Who was the first person to take a ride in an Indy car in 2016? And it could be one of you. So it may not be a race car driver. It will definitely be someone who registers with Chevy, and so we encourage you all to do that. That will be active now until about the 16th of December to register for that great prize to take the first ride, as this car here will descend down the building, the side, and come down at the moment of midnight and disappear for a second, and all of a sudden you'll hear the engines roar, and out comes that rider being driven around downtown Indianapolis. It's totally full of excitement. So the whole night will have excitement. We have the EDM energy of Cap Slap. It's a great energized group that will lead us into the new year. An exciting entertainment and warming zone, as we mentioned here, with the Hoosier Lottery Countdown Pavilion. A special iHeart Listeners Lounge will be a part of this right after the Pacers and the Bucks game as we move forward to 2016. So, we'd like to take a look at this car that will be suspended above the stage that will come down. We're going to ask our presenters here to gather around the front of it. Again, we thank the folks at Indy Racing Experience. Scott and Jeff, we thank you so much for your team, and the Delara team out there does some great work for our city. So we're going to count down, and then I think we might hear some energy of New Year's Eve. So we have everybody ready. Please join me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. All right, here it is. It's beautiful. So thank you for coming. You're welcome to come get your pictures with the car, and our presenters will be available. Thank you again, Pacer Sports Entertainment, for hosting us. And we'll see you New Year's Eve.